we are back with an all brand new episode of Buckets and Dimes, Nuts and Bolts Sports NBA podcast. Joe Cardoza here, joined as always by my main man, Patrick Hillwig. What's going on, Pat? It's been a while, man.
Yes, it has, man. And the All-Star break come through, seen the games, man. It was fun watching all that stuff. Saturday night was fun. I know you were there, so I say it was fun, but you know, I'm sure you'll explain later, but I know you know it was fun.
Yeah, I had a great time in Charlotte. It was a fun city. I mean, as I've said before, I'm home now in Maryland, having lived in the last 6 years in North Carolina. The funny thing is, 6 years living in the Carolinas, I've only been to Charlotte once to cover a Big Three event. That's my second time ever being in Charlotte. Super hospitable people down there. Had a good time. I was joined by Raphael Haynes from the 3-Point Conversions Company, and I was also joined by the two hosts of the NBA Baseline podcast. Check out their show if you haven't already. Warren Shaw and Kyle Lee. Good time, man. Good times for sure. I enjoyed myself.
I definitely missed out on that one, man. I unfortunately I had something else I had to attend, but I really, really, really wanted to go, and I just based on the pictures on Instagram and everything, I see you did have a good time.
Hey, family first, man. I understand. Plus, you and I, Vegas, baby, Summer League. Come on now.
Oh, we're going to make it happen this year.
Yeah, that'd be an upgrade. And it's also been 7 days of no NBA basketball. Thank God games come back tomorrow, so we'll have some action to watch. It's just strange. I'm a big college basketball fan, but there hasn't been a lot of, besides tonight's Duke versus UNC game, hasn't been a lot of big-time matchups in college basketball. So having no NBA, having no big-time college basketball, sports fanatic like myself, going through withdrawal, man, scratching myself, hives.
Yeah. I think all the talk pretty much lately has been about the NFL Combine getting ready to come up. I mean, that's what it is for us. We know right after the All-Star break is when basketball, when the teams really get into gear and they really start amping it up to get in the playoffs. You see a lot of teams, changing their rosters up a little bit, giving some players a little bit of rest, but still trying to make sure that they have the right chemistry going into the playoffs. And this is my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, especially when you have those teams that made trades at the All-Star at the trading deadline. Chance for those guys to get acclimated. Those 7 days off. If you didn't make the All-Star team, I'm sure some of those teams are playing together, getting to know each other, kind of find that person's sweet spot on the court and off the court with their personalities. Like, let's kick things off with All-Star talk. Talk about the slam dunk contest, skills competition, the 3-point contest. Just the whole experience overall, man. I mean, I'll kind of start things off since I was in the area, and I can tell you definitely, having never been to a city during the All-Star game, it was awesome. I mean, the whole city was electric, was buzzing, All-Star signage everywhere. Unfortunately, this season, Nuts and Bolts Sports was denied by the NBA to have media credentials, but that did not stop me from going and having a good time. A lot of awesome brands down there. If you haven't got a chance to go on our website yet, shameless plug. I got a great article I just wrote today, just talking about what I did and what my All-Star experience was like. Shout out to Bleacher Report for having a fantastic event, probably one of my funnest events that I went to when I was down there. They did really big, man. A celebrity all-star basketball game, a dunk contest, and I can die telling people that, hey, I was in the same room as Fabulous and Jadakiss for at least for an hour or two. So that was kind of cool. But what were your thoughts, Pat, on dunk contest, 3-point contest?
Well, I mean, the dunk contest, you and I have talked about it for years and years and years. It's to me, it's lost its luster. It's lacking. I think it's become more of a show than really anything about the dunks. You look at Collins when he came out there and tried to jump over that airplane, and I mean, it took 10 minutes it seemed like to get the airplane out, and then he had to adjust the helmet and then the goggles and then take it off, and it just takes away from the dunks, I think. And then of course. You got Hamidou Diallo winning it. I mean, that guy. I mean, I think I said something to him in our last about him on our last podcast. About I remember, of course, when he was with Thunder, he had some big dunks in the games, and man, he did not let down at all. I mean, jumping over Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, that was
a little controversial, but he made the dunk.
He touched his shoulder, but he didn't actually leapfrog him, right? I mean, you look at Dennis Smith Jr. when he jumped over Dwayne Wade. He clearly put his hand on his shoulder and clearly pushed up. But out of the dunk contest, I think those two guys were the most exciting. Diallo clearly had the highest vertical. I think they said he was tied or had the highest vertical in the combine or the draft for the skills for NBA. And Dennis Smith Jr., we know he's a high flyer. We know him coming out of NC State. I mean, I think he was the most technical and difficult as far as the dunks that he did. He just wasn't able to hit him on the first dunk. And to see them give him a 50s across the board or excuse me, as soon as see him get a 50 and miss 3 dunks, it kind of made me think, where did the dunk contest go? It used to be if you miss the dunk twice and then you do it, you're getting 8s.
Yeah, 8s and 7s, yeah.
Right, you're not getting 10s if you miss it. So, other than that, the dunk contest was what it's been the past few years. The 3-point contest, man, it was cool seeing Joe Harris get out there, win one for the Brooklyn Nets. The Curry brothers going against each other. Big Buddy buckets out there dropping them, man. It was just really fun to watch that. And then when you get to the All-Star game itself, I think it lived up to everything that we thought it was going to be. We thought the team LeBron was going to blow them out of the water. Everybody, considered Giannis' team the underdogs in that one, and they came out on fire. You look at, for Giannis, you got Paul George and Middleton with 6 3-pointers each. And then you go back over to Team LeBron, and then in the third quarter, they lit it up. Durant, Lillard, Thompson, Beal, they were on fire in that third quarter to bring him back.
Yeah.
To bring him back. The best player on the court was Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 38 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal in an All-Star game. He was killing it. He was dominating both ends of the court.
That bounce pass dunk from Curry might be the top 2 greatest All-Star game plays I've ever seen in my life. That was unbelievable.
The only other one that
slow-mo replay
I know it wasn't an actual All-Star game. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the Rising Stars or something. Maybe it was the All-Star game. I don't remember, but it was John Wall threw a bounce pass to Blake Griffin, half-court bounce pass, and he reverse dunked it. And that was one of my more memorable ones from the All-Star weekend.
I'm about to YouTube that.
Yeah, that was it was pretty epic. The not the most exciting, I guess, but one of the coolest things was that skills challenge. And you got big guys. You got the Joker. You got Jason Tatum in there.
Yeah, Trae Young.
Fox,
yeah.
Trae Young.
Luka.
Luka.
Yeah.
Luka was my guy. I was thinking he was going to win, but and Vucevic. So you got 2 Nicolas in one thing. And try saying that one 10 times, right? And then they actually paired against each other to start. But De'Aaron Fox, man, that guy is so fast. They talk about it, but when you see it on the court, it's unreal. And then, of course, Dinwiddie won it last year.
Yeah.
And Dinwiddie was kind of cool because they had Dinwiddie sitting on the side, commentating, and he basically said, look, I'll challenge the winner or whatever, whoever wins, I'm going to challenge him next year because I'm still the reigning champ. And it was kind of weird, but how it happened. But, in the beginning of it, he was saying that, after you make the layup, you got to run down and shoot that 3-pointer for the final one, and that's the key thing. And he was like, somebody needs to shoot a half-court shot to beat the other player down the court, so that way you get 2 shots at the 3-pointer instead of just 1. And then, lo and behold, look what happened at the end. Jason Tatum hits a half-court shot, and it was just, that was probably one of the most exciting things that, you saw that weekend. But all in all, man, you went there, so you saw the electricity, and you saw how that city came alive. But as far as from home watching it and stuff like that, I like the All-Star Weekend. I like all the events that they have. The dunk contest could be, maybe we could get some bigger names in it. But other than that, it was great to watch it all, and I'm happy that it's all over and to get into this crunch time where we, go to the playoff push.
Yeah, I think with the NBA, did a better job of promoting the people that are in the dunk contest. They wait a long time to announce the names. They announce the names, and that's kind of it. There's no highlight package to go with that player, so in case you're not somebody that's ever watched them play before because you don't follow that team or whatever the reason there is, there's no video for you to get excited about somebody and get behind them. Of course, like you said, we both know Dennis Smith Jr., but the other contestants, it was kind of like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to go on YouTube or NBA.com on my own to find out about those people. And to me, what's becoming fun when it comes to All-Star Saturday night is the 3-point contest and the skills challenge. I think part of that's because the game has become a 3-point contest. Look at how Golden State plays. When you got people shooting 15, 25, 33s as a team a night, that's a big part of the NBA basketball. So watching guys come out there, show that skill, which is shooting, it's exciting, something you want to see. And then basketball is all about fundamentals. So, of course, if you're a true basketball purist, you're going to like the skills challenge as well. So, for me, the dunk contest is, it was okay. But I was really excited, and I enjoyed watching the skills challenge and watching the 3-point challenge as well. And the game itself is always fun. It's like everything else. A lot of playing around in the beginning, and when it gets down to crunch time, they start playing better defense. start taking the game up seriously. As a guy that's been a fan of Damian Lillard for a long time, I was happy to see him on a national stage, get some recognition. Logo Lillard. I'm all about that nickname they're trying to give him now, after hitting a couple threes from the logo. So it was cool to see him out there. And like you said, Bradley Beal representing for DC. And there was something funny you were telling me before we started the show. You said that when asked what he was doing this past weekend, Bradley Beal said what?
Well, he was basically just saying, he's recruiting. I mean, that they were asking him some questions, and basically was what he was doing this weekend was recruiting. I mean, he's got to recruit. I mean, we want to get some better players to come to our city. Just like everybody talks about LA, where people want to go. People want to come to Washington too. They want to play with Bradley Beal. They want to play with John Wall. So, of course, he's obviously not going to name any names because we've already seen what happens when you name names or say you want somebody to play with you.
True story.
I'm not going to say any names on that one. But yeah, man, you mentioned the three-pointers and the three-point contest. Something I forgot to mention because I kind of skipped over my notes here. And I kind of skipped over it because I read it and I thought, this can't be right, so I'm not going to say this out loud because I don't want to be wrong. And you and I actually discussed it before, and I thought I was wrong too. But there was a record for three-pointers. I believe it was a record for three-pointers made and attempted. I'm not sure both, but between the two teams, they made 62 three-pointers and they attempted 167 three-pointers. I really had to check those numbers about 10 times before I said it out loud, just so I didn't sound like I didn't know what I was talking about. But I mean, I checked ESPN, I checked NBA, I checked all the sports apps I got on my phone, and they all said the same thing. So just seeing that number and watching the game and remembering how many shots were just jacked up. But but hey, that's what the game has become. We talk.
Welcome to the NBA in 2019.
Right. We talk about Curry. We talk about Thompson, Middleton. Joe Harris, Buddy Hield, all these guys are obviously in the three-point shootout too. But it's fun. It's fun, and man, it really brings the crowd alive in a game when you hit a three-pointer, especially when you knock down three after three after three. When you're down
there's a lot more skill in that, in my opinion, than taking the ball down the court and dunking when you're 6'7", 6'8", or whatever. And I mean, the final was good too. And shout out to Joe Harris for putting the Brooklyn Nets on the map even more. I mean, we've been talking about it all season long, how impressed we are with that season they've had so far. D'Angelo Russell getting some run, being an all-star. Spencer Dinwiddie, and now him being the reigning three-point champ, just bringing some more shine onto that Brooklyn Nets team and talking about the good season they've been having so far. So it was an exciting time. I don't like cold, but I'm strongly considering going to Chicago next year. I know the All-Star game is in Chicago, and man, it'd be cool to go again and for you to roll with me, but I mean, that's a different level of cold. We're in the D.C. area. Chicago's a whole different level of cold.
The Windy City. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that one myself either. I mean, today it was pretty cold here, and I know it's probably about 15 degrees, maybe 20 degrees colder there on a regular basis. I'm not not sure if I'm up to it, but hey, if we get the opportunity, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to say about that.
Spend your whole paycheck on some North Face gear. Be good to go. Nobody's going to care what you're wearing that day as long as you're warm. It's all that matters, man.
Yep.
So yeah, like you said, man, 7 weeks left in the season. We are down to crunch time, playoff push for sure. Now, let's talk about our power rankings. I know that we don't have a lot of movement, obviously, because we haven't had games in a while, but we had some time to think about things, kind of like what we saw in the first half of the season, what we saw that last night of the NBA, even though there's only a couple of games. So I'll start things off with my power rankings heading into the restart of the season. I have Milwaukee at 1. Can you believe that they have not lost 2 games back-to-back all season yet so far? Just let that sink in for a little bit. Golden State at 2. Toronto at 3. Denver's at 4, Oklahoma City Thunder at 5, 76ers are at 6. I have the Boston Celtics at 7, Portland Trailblazers are my 8th ranked team, Indiana Pacers at 9, and then coming in at number 10, I have the Utah Jazz. Those are my top 10 teams heading into the second half of the season. Judging by your face, you have some differences or some opinions.
Well, before maybe I misheard it, but did you not have the Rockets on there?
No, I did not.
Okay.
Not my top 10.
That's okay. That was what I was saying.
Yep.
Hey, well, you haven't heard mine yet. We don't even. The cool thing is about the top 10 is we do these separate. Obviously, we do everything that our research separate, but we do our top 10 separate, and we like to actually